line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up. Finger to the sky and a green light shining bright. The only thing I have in mind is the finish line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing.
Hello again to you all, and welcome back here to PTM Racing TV, now live here at Watkins Glen, New York. It's Watkins Glen International and the Bigfoot 45, presented by the Joe Sixpack Racing League here on PTM Racing TV. Hi, good everyone. I am the Crusader, Christian Trevor, joining you here today as we are live here down in old WGI. We're about to see some big racing from all the way down on the floor panels of these you and I guys drivers, because these Joe Sixpack Racing League boys are ready to bring it all down to the table and bring it all down on the track. It's time to get it down here right here now. So let's take a look at our track tech talk for the evening here to start this one up before we get to their gridding order. This track, 12 turns in total. They're going to be definitely evening the things layouts a little bit. They're going to have a lot of hard troubles there on that first corner there, that 90-degree angle. That'll be a turn one entry problem for many drivers. They're going to have to be very careful when they get around to that area, because there's a penalty box there. If they get caught in it, will mess up their run. And now watch out for turn number 6 down there as well. That will bring out a lot of problems for some drivers here. So we'll have to get down to business here and see what happens. But right now the time has come. Let's take a look at the gridding order. Start them on the pole. And we're going to see the 3 of Al Reed bringing it to the show. David Lamaga goes in the 34. Row number 2 is James Grouse. And number 14 is outside Robert Tuiscu in the 28. Row number 3, Eli Raposa. And the 46 is outside Johnny Barker in the number 6. Row number 4 is going to be West Frank Norman. The 72 is outside Greg Drace, the 64. Row number 5 is going to be Keith Fonseca. And the 64 to 61, is outside. That will be piloted up by Gene Cato in the 11. Row number 6, Marty Brown, and the 41 is outside Brad Yonkman. He'll pilot up the 93. In our final starters here in row number 7, Kevin Gironi, the Gironi beaten man himself. And the 8 is outside John Humphrey. And the number 4, race fans, it's time again. The drivers are ready. The cars are stacked. This field is ready to pour on the momentum and pour on the fight. It's time to go racing here on PTM Racing TV. Field getting ready to bring the hammer down and bring on the fire, bring on the power. It is time to wheel it in here at Watkins Glen, New York. Fans, are you ready? Drivers, are you ready? Well, without further ado, hit the pedal, put it down straight to the middle, bring them off the corners of the final corner down to the front straightaway where we see the green. Off the first corners here, they'll dive it in deep. And the number 14, James Krause, already trying to build up some momentum on these boys. 3 wide slip, but he's in no man's land. He's got to get out of there. He'll have to serve a penalty. He gets out of it. He'll drive it on down. Try to hold the field in, try to hold himself under control. That's a bit of a mistake, though, for having to make that move there. He's going to have to be careful about that later on. You got to be patient. You got to time every single maneuver around here. You got to make sure you hit every corner just right. These tires can only take so much here. As we'll know throughout the race here, these cars are definitely more built for the road course style because they're a lot harder to drive. But as you see right there coming through the corners off the bus stop, the 28, Robert Tuiscu, he's got to serve a penalty. He had to slow down and get the car to stabilize in and let the penalty be set. The officials down there keeping a very close eye on him. You are not getting away from these officials today. They will hunt you down like on a boneyard with a gravedigger. What the heck did I just say on TV? I don't even know. The number 64, Greg Drace here, a little side-by-side action as they enter into the final 2 corners here. Drace trying to get a better run off than Gene Cato, but Cato is not to be denied. He takes the pass and makes the run off as good as he can. Al Reed right now, the Digital Motorsports number 3, continuing to just mount the charge and get further ahead of this field. This is his style of racing. He loves to pour on momentum on these road courses. This is his style. His Irish background and nature really have been laid in many historical races, of course, in the Formula One eras to the IndyCar days to more often than not anything that evolves around the international flavor that Watkins Glen brings to the table. But there is one thing we'll have to keep a very, very close eye out for tonight is when the drivers get a little too comfortable, get a little too on the edge. When it's too much, and when they get a little too all over the place. They have to be aware of that. They have to be very obscene to it. They know it's a very big possibility if they're not careful here. Continuing to mount their charge right now, the reigning defending champion, David Lamaga here. He's in a hot pursuit. He's in a fight for his life as he's trying to take down Eli Raposa in the 46. It's Camry versus Ford. 3 spots up for the 46 right now as we saw the mistakes from James Krause cost him precious momentum and timing earlier. As they set the cars down in turn number 1 yet again. The number 14, James Krause, now trying to put the Skull Bandit ahead in the fight. A little bit of problems down there. Looks like that was the number 6, Johnny Barker, going outside into the deep end. Now remember, there is a corner down there that exemplifies where they can get back into the throttle and back into the gas. without having to serve a penalty. And that's exactly what John Humphrey did. He got into the out of bounds, but he brought it back in to not get himself in trouble. So it saves him a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulties there. But his timing right now is still way off target. Brad Yonkman right now trying to work his way from the outhouse and forward up to the White House here. He's currently rocketing the Bengals. Number 93. And I will say up front, yes, I am rooting for the Bengals tonight. That's what I'm going to go with. Whoa! Speaking of going with here, a little bit of problems down there for the 3 of Al Reed. And the Bigfoot 45 race leader right now may have just found himself almost lingering into the shadow realm. I don't know what the heck happened there, although we're going to take a look at the PTM Instant Replay. We had a camera on him as he went for a little ride there. Presented by Greg's Lawn and Garden Care. Let's find out what happened. Oh, looked like he just overshot the corner, didn't break in enough, and you can see once he shot it past, he got himself into a little troubles area. Thankfully, that is not an out-of-bounds zone. He can drive there. And he keeps his race lead in check, but how long did that mess up his run, I wonder? That was a lot of time he lost there just by trying to get out of that mess. Onboard camera right now, Keith Fonseca here at the number 61, trying to get up there with Raposa. Raposa starting to fall back a little bit in line as a swing shot through the bus stop. You can see Raposa right now just trying to hold on, trying to give himself some room and some momentum to kind of work with here. He knows he's getting caught up pretty quickly there. A 45 lap race, this is not going to be a very long race unless the drivers kind of make it a long race on their own, which I highly doubt that will happen. Most of these guys are very well aware and very technical and sounding on their racing background here on this road course style track. Fonseca trying to get some momentum boosted up, trying to help out his teams down in Back Row Sim Racing. Him, John Humphrey, Matthew Wheeler, and Marty Brown are always in the fight, in the process of taking things to a whole nother level. You can see right there, it looks like all 4 tires going just off the cliff there, but Fonseca was able to keep it in play. Remember, that was turn 1, but remember turn 6 the other area, so here's turn 2, 3, and 4, or as I call it, slippery slope, because driving any kind of car around here, unless you're glued to the ground, is impossible with those hills. Those rolling hills are like a nightmare to hang on to. You just slip, you slide, and you just hope you don't go vanishing down into the shadow realm. Oh, Raposa, mistake, big mistake. Fonseca to the left side, and now the Back Row Sim Racing 61 takes advantage. 4 spots up for Fonseca. And that opens the door up now for Kevin Gironi. Here comes the Gironi beaten man himself. And how about this? He started 13th, second to dead last. The man is currently charging up into number 7 spot, looking for 6th. He might be a favorite here. We'll have to find out as they continue to work their way down across the ends here. You see our flagman. Hey, wait a minute. Someone wake him up. Is he falling asleep over there? Is he I swear he better not be falling asleep. I saw that head tilted down there. You get back up there and work this one, my friend. If I got to work the broadcast, you work that flag stand. You know the drill. Speaking of knowing the drill, I think Raposa forgot about the rules down there and overdrove it yet again. Opens the door up. Gironi now puts a... What the heck is on that scheme? Is that little picky? Certainly got on that scheme. Oh, it's a pork chop. That's what it is. It's the pork chop number 8. Oh my days. First he was the Gironi beating machine. Now he's literally the pork chop of our day and age. I don't even know what to say to that. Al Reed right now currently a race leader here in the number 3 as he continues on. Race fans, when we come back, there is still plenty of action to coverage and still plenty of moments to be seen. Who is going to be able to survive this one out and pull away with the W? Find out when we return. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by the Joe Six-Pack Podcast. When you guys need your day-to-day news, weekly outlets here on the drivers and on the race, there is no better way to get it from them with the Joe Six-Pack Podcast. Weekly race fans, broadcasters, commentators, paint designers, livery designers, and all that. The Joe Six-Pack Podcast has always got you covered. And by Greg's Lawn and Garden Care, grow better with Greg. And I don't think I need to say anything else, but I think those guys down there at Greg's Lawn Garden Care have actually done a pretty good job with the tractor. I heard they actually laid down some fertilizer to help out old Watkins Glen, New York, to kind of help get the little refurbished, a little bit more control and consistency out here. I must say, too, it's lovely out here. This is a beautiful facility. Of course, iRacing has updated Watkins Glen International as well around here. This used to be a little bit more different looking than we now see it today. And personally, I think the change was for the better. This is an awesome looking establishment, a very clean looking area. But there is one little downside to it, is that we did lose the old worn out, tore up surface and the old style track racing that Watkins Glen was known for. In some ways I'm kind of sad, but in other ways I'm actually kind of intrigued, because it does make things a little harder for drivers to kind of work around and actually edge out with the rule books. Forces them to, instead of driving so hard into the corners or on the outsides, they now have to tighten up their runs and tighten up these corners just to hold on and take it to another level. John Humphrey started in 14th. He's up 6 spots. He's now in 8th at the moment, trying to gain back up onto the field here, as currently the rest of our field moves their way on by. Drivers just looking for any kind of openings or any kind of runs off they can get. Robert Tuiscu in the number 28 right now, piling up his Ford Jameson machine, that old whiskey little company there. I love, gotta have some Jameson every now and then. But I'll tell you one thing, he's been running hard. He's been running strong here so far. He currently started 4th. He's currently in 4th place. I think a lot of that has to do with just kind of timing and pacing here as we go on board here with him. And just look at the way he's actually having to downshift into these corners. Remember, they're not using an H-pattern shifter anymore. What these drivers are using is what we call a sequential shifter. Now you're probably at home wondering, wait a minute, oh what? Well, let me introduce you to the world of European racing. Sequential shifters were generally used more towards the rallycross era, more towards kind of the era of the European style cars when it comes to the racing aspect, which makes them much harder to control and be difficult. Think of it almost as if it's like a Formula One style paddle shifter. Instead of using a clutch with the actual, handle for an H pattern, instead you're just going up for gas for going down, or shifting down, and then going down to shift up. It's very technical and it is kind of confusing. I wish I kind of had an onboard camera to show you guys like what the heck I'm talking about. But this is one of those series and races that you'll see a lot of these drivers having to get used to that 5-gear setup and having to get used to the 5-gear area. That brings a challenge to them in so many regards to the table. And to be honest with you, I kind of like it. It's a unique blend. It's a unique challenge that honestly it makes things a little bit harder for drivers to figure out. These cars, I mean, I'll give them credit all day with their iRacing. They did a good job designing and getting these cars configured in. But there's one thing I feel like they still have no feeling towards, and they need to get fixed up immediately, is that steering issue. And I know, folks have already told me that they already have. There's nothing else we can do about that. And speaking of nothing else we can do about here, what's James Krause come to a dead stop in the 14. The Skull Bandit has parked it off the track, and he looks like he's done for the day. Something has gone wrong in the Skull Bandit. There is a PTM instant replay. Watch right here. Comes off turn number 1. Look at that thing just sway right. And as soon as he hit the curb, he was in trouble. But you can watch that skill right there. He backs off, gets it under control, and does not go into somebody else there. That's good racing and sportsmanship on his end to avoid that trouble. We see many drivers get caught up in a bad spot or a bad situation because of issues like that. But what a tough break there for Krause. He had such a good start. Such a good boosted speed right out of the gate, only to find himself in this long necker situation. Field's starting to spread out a little bit, so now things are turning into more of a timing scenario, and that only means one thing: if you want the timing done just right, well, you best learn how to crank it up a few notches. Let's crank it up down here at Watkins Glen. Oh, you gotta love it when we pile up the motors and rev these things out and let the cars just tune to the buzz and the beat of the sounds that we hear in the rhythm. I always love just kind of giving these guys some time to just go out here and just rev them up a little bit and let them fire on down. That's one thing I absolutely love to hear and see. To those that are tuning in right now, first off, thank you so much for coming on by. Thank you everyone that is tuned on in with us here. As we're about approaching halfway mark here at the moment, we do ask if you haven't already to like and follow up our Facebook and subscribe here though on P3 Racing TV YouTube channel so you never miss the beat, you never miss the show. We always got some kind of coverage going live down on the track, and we'd love to share it with you and see everyone kind of coming on in and have a little chat with us. Like drivers right now currently still in a hot brigade, still trying to find lines and find runs here, but it seems like the guys that are more experienced on these road courses like Al Reed and David Lamaga, well, let's just say they found their own little rhythm. They don't seem to be phased too much by other drivers out here. Pace continuing to drop hard, drop around the track here. Again, Watkins Glen, definitely one of the hardest tracks to really figure out, definitely kind of master around here. Really a lot of reasons, but the main reason I'm going to tell you guys is due to really its size and shape and scope. As we mentioned before here, this is one of the toughest road courses and the best road courses, in my opinion, that NASCAR in general or any series could run for a variety of reasons. There's many ways to pass. There's some tight corners that really get some drivers kind of all over the place, and also there's a lot of long run stretches like the front stretch and the back stretch here that leads up from the checkered line to the checkered finish to the back end off the turn number 4, which then of course leads into that incriminating bus stop. Now I'll tell you one thing, there's one part I really cannot stand. It is that darn bus stop. Al Reed's about to get a taste of it here as he drives his number 3 Digital Motorsports Ford Mustang right up into the fight zone. This right here is what we call the bus stop, and look at this right here. You notice how he's breaking in. He's having to be very, very superstitious and cautious on where he runs it out at because he's trying to hold that thing online, trying to hold the car in place. If you ever so dare try to overpower any of that corner, any of that turn with any car for that matter, you might as well kiss your chances of racing goodbye, because really that turn, in my opinion, is the absolute hardest and the worst to get around. It doesn't discriminate, and it sure loves to beat and bang up drivers left and right. Al Reed currently is still your race leader, though. He has not been tested fully. In my opinion, he's really just been kind of doing his own thing. His teammate, David Lamaga, the reigning defending champion, not far off behind him and not too far off away. Keith Fonseca going into pit road. He'll be the first to do so. That is not named Johnny Barker. This is interesting right now. I'm very interested to see what happens next year, as he's going to have to go in for some fuel tires and some little Goodyears or two in there. Taking a look at our top 10 here going into today's action. David Lamaga up 11 points in the entire field. Brad Yonkman, though, a solid 200, though. He's not far behind, although right now, anyway, this track might be getting the better of him unless he can figure out a better pit strategy. Jonathan Humphrey here, a 188 set. Albert Reed, or Al Reed as we like to know him as, 178. Fifth right now, Johnny Barker with 177. Keith Fonseca, 176. Eli Raposa, the 171. F. Barefoot, 166. Rob Lowell, he's got 156. And Greg Drace, currently selling at a 152. So in that hindsight, and honestly, everything you just heard there, that tells me two things. Number one, we've got a close battle in proximity to each driver when it comes to where they can play out the field and where they can drive out the track. Then it really boils down to who's going to get the better runs and the better situations when we get to the later half of the season. And remember, we are only on, I believe, only a couple races in, and we still got a lot more races to go. The Joe Sixpack Racing League will end come April 3rd at Las Vegas. That will be our last race we have covered on the broadcast end for them. And Las Vegas Motor Speedway now with these 670 horsepower packages, I guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun to see what goes down or what brings it down on the table here. I'm very excited to see that. The onboard camera here with the reigning defending champ. Al Reed heading into pit road here, so it looks like his timing and his strategy is now coming into fruition as the rest of the field kind of tries to hold their way on by Wes Frank Norman right now, currently with the only few laps put on the track here. It looks like he had mechanical problems down there in the number 72, as other drivers right now just kind of do their own work around their own little situation here. As you can see, some of them are getting kind of tighter in the corners. You saw Lomaga, he actually drove a little higher up to kind of get around the carousel turn there, you see, with the number 8 of Gironi going by. Now you're probably wondering at home, why would you go that wide out? Why wouldn't you just take it a little tighter? Well, you could, and yeah, it could be a little faster, but here's the thing. Trying to dive in, trying to tighten the corners up that well with these kind of heavy artilleries, it's not exactly the smartest move. Generally, what you want to do is drive a little wider open, let the car kind of come in, take a set, and then as it turns in, you can start to really build up more momentum and more drive, because then you can hammer down the exits a lot better than you could if you were to, say, just drive it completely straight in and hugging the curb ends of Watkins Glen. Lomaga goes into pit road. Al Reed looking to try to take that back from him. With a fresh set of tires, though, you better be careful down there. Let's take a look at our pit stop strategies here and see the stint length we have gone to for this. And here's the length we are seeing right now. Now, right at the moment, they're all going to have to go into pit road at least 3 times. But those that stayed out a little longer, I think they've got a little something in mind here for these guys. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of eke out more lap time, more gain in ground, so they can keep up with the distance, keep up with the show. Remember, there is no caution flags, there is no nothing competition caution related. It's a go out there and they just race their race and hope for the best. And Al Reed just, I don't even want to say like mastering the timing here, but he's just completely been unfazed. He's been unfazed, he's been untouched. No one's even bothered to try to tell him, like, why have you not done this in the ovals? But like I said before, I think a lot of it's his background. He's got a thing for running the road courses more than anything. And I think that style has kind of come into fruition and has really helped him out. He's already got a win here on PTM Racing TV as our lone Irishman to ever pull up a W here on the show. But right now, John Humphrey, I think he's trying to figure out where that came from, where that wall came from coming in through turn number 2 and 3. He smashes the right end corner of number 4, and the car just kind of tightened up. It looked really badly there. I'm not sure if he just couldn't get the turn in because he was driving too hard or what happened, but it looked like that pit strategy may have screwed up his run and his game here, because the tires are not warmed up. I can tell you right now, just looking at how cold, looking at how they're spinning around a little bit. That's cold sets of tires for you. It's being a little bit of a booger down there for him. He's got to be careful. Lomaga 36th and 8th back here of Al Reed. And Al Reed right now, currently the way his pit strategy is going, the way his timing is going, I hate saying it, but it's flawless. It's just flawless. Greg Drace now coming back out on the pit road. He's a solid lap down, almost 2 straight laps down from the rest of the field. And I think a little bit of that has to do with just kind of his patience and his conservative nature he's trying to put up on pit road as well as the car itself. He did tell me earlier this was definitely not one of his strongest tracks. He said he felt like he had to kind of drive a little harder and get better as a performer to even hold up with these guys. And even then, he says he's not 110% with this race. Well, despite not being 110%, man, I'll give him credit where credit's due. At least he's still hanging in there. Let's take a look at our timing sheets right now and pull up the best and fastest of the night. Well, James Grouse is still around. He actually be right in this hunt because he was only 500ths of a second back of Al Reed. No doubt about it. He's our number one. He's our number one driver right now in the time wise. His time was a 1:14.24. And let me tell you something, at Watkins Glen, if you can get to the 13s, that's saying something. He did drive a 1:13 in qualifying, with his top speeds reaching upwards of 178 miles per hour. That was guns blazing speed. There's a little bit of problems down there yet again here for the number 4, John Humphrey. Nearly sent him into the penalty box there, but thankfully he was able to keep it under control. Marty Brown, the first time we're seeing him today here, and the number 41. Good to see him back out on the show as we watch drivers all around us here. Well, speaking of drivers all around us here, looks like Gene Cato might have gone and found the sandbox down there on old turn 11 there, for the 11. And again, if I am getting these turns wrong and I'm not numbering them right, just be aware I'm not a big road course guy, so I will admit up front that I have a hard time kind of catching each turn. So I have even a map here, but I forget. Yeah, you can see the 11 here. The Pet Finder just overdrove it. I had nowhere to go. Trying to hold on, though. He's not going to exactly quit, though, down there. He's not going to give out. Speaking of our track map here, let's go ahead and get that pulled up now. There it is. There's the track map. This will give you guys a bright idea of where everyone's at in positions right now as we're halfway done. Might as well see where the drivers are from the front end into the back end. Currently Cato down in the 12th spot. He's a couple laps down. Unfortunately, he is not looking too good here. And I think a lot of that has to do with just who he's up against. Again, a lot of these guys, probably of anything, have tested, practiced, and maintained a good distance, more than I can social distance around at a Walmart center these days. They pretty much have kind of figured things out more in line and more intensive than we've seen before. Field kind of stretching themselves up a little bit, kind of holding down the line. Looks like Brad Yonkman, I guess I got to owe him an apology for earlier. Looks like his strategy is starting to work out a little bit. Saved the car up and really worked his way around it from there on. He hasn't really missed a beat, hasn't missed a step, so I think it's time we crank things up again a little bit here on PTM Race TV. Looks like a little bit of problems down there for Johnny Barker right now on the number 6 here. He's got a bit of a problem down there, spinning right out yet again. Looks like he might have lost it there from the bus stop end before a car finally came to a rest. Got settled up here. Let's take a look at the PTM instant replay. Set in by Greg's Lawn and Garden Care. Let's see what happened here. Ah, there it is. You remember what I told you earlier about that bus stop and how tough it is to get around that little corner. That fencing area, man, you cannot turn that thing in any tighter or any looser. You will watch every ounce of it, and it will send you skyrocketing if you're not careful. Unfortunately, that's what happened to the Rowdy Energy Toyota Camry number 6, Johnny Barker. Al Reed now passing on by there. The number 41, Marty Brown here. Brown having a little bit of a tough time kind of maneuvering that low Chevrolet 41, although I think I have an idea where that scheme came from. I think that might be a little bit of a tribute to good old Jimmy Johnson down there. He's trying to hold on, though. Give him credit for credit. Still, at least he's fighting the car and still fighting the drivers. Damon McNeil saying, love to crank it up. Damon, good to have you on board, sir. Yeah, believe it or not, we love to crank it up too a little bit, and that's why we like to pull that thing up and just crank it all in and let the motors loose. David LaMaga right now just such on the ragged edge, on the ragged move end here. Just trying to find something there on Al Reed, trying to get something to go, but unfortunately being 5 seconds back doesn't exactly help your cause any. The good news is for him is that even if Al Reed wins this race, to where he's at in position right now, he'd be okay to lose 1 in the points wise. But I guarantee you more than anything, he will not hesitate to come back with an absolute fight in a barn burner in the next couple of days. I think he'll really start to kind of weigh in and tone up things and get things more right and about. Keeping the momentum alive, keeping the corners up. That's really the name of the game here. Just kind of keep speeds around the track. You don't want to lose out on the site and out on the playing field. Remember, these drivers, what they're going up against is literally a who's who of tough races and some tough guys that either have been more balanced and set up towards the opposite end of the spectrum, more towards, if you will, the oval style of racing. But once we get closer into that road course style as well, in my opinion, it really kind of tests drivers more often than not, because it's really now settling them on a whole nother playing field. It's giving them a whole nother feel and grip to have to work with and really charge up. And the toughest thing about running these kind of tracks is, again, most of them, they're not used to having to maneuver around certain turns. They're not used to really having to pull up the momentum, pull up the charge. It can be a bit of a handful. It can be a bit of a struggle. I can tell you from experience, I've still struggled with it. I've had plenty of problems with it. But I think over time, once you start to really wind down, get everything figured out, it all just kind of comes naturally. Certainly, I'm not surprised right now that everyone that's been playing in this here have been pretty much controlling everything else. 19 laps remain right at the moment here on the foot and on the barn burner edge. Al Reed right now looking closer and closer to the final laps here before he'll have to enter into pit road to get more fuel. We saw earlier his strategy was stay out just a little bit, one lap more than the needed conditions here to get to lap 45. But remember, if he gets kind of put into a bad slot in a bad spot here, he's going to have to be careful about how long he goes in and stays in pit road. I mean, if I was him right now and I was getting a little bit caught up here, I would say take all 4 tires and fuel to just keep the momentum going, keep the train rocking and rolling. You don't want to rock the boat. You just want to get the speed build up from the other end of the spectrum, especially with the amount of laps we have left on display. And Lamaga is charging, by the way. Let's take a look at the lap times here. This is what's going on right now. Lamaga has gotten 4/10 of a second on him, but there's just, and even a full second, but there's just one little incy-weensy little problem. And that is Reed keeps finding a way to get back at 6/10 or get back at a 4/10 and just take everybody by storm, not even without a shadow of doubt, a care in the world, to say the least here. And that, to me, is the name of his game plan, the name of his strategy here. It's just to outsmart, outplay the rest of the field. Francesca right now trying to get up there with Brad Yonkman as the number 93 driver goes a little too far out, and so does Francesca. Looks like back row sim racing. May want to be a little careful there. You see though, no penalty given. Again, they only have to keep all 4 tires from getting outside the area down to that length of road in turn 1. So when you see the ending of the curbing, if you're still inside there, might as well kiss your race goodbye, because then you're going to have to pretty much deal with the penalty there. That can slow you up for about a couple seconds, and believe me, a couple seconds on a track like this, that's going to hurt you more than you realize. Eli Arposa getting a good whip of that right now, as he currently is only about 5 seconds back, 4.5 seconds now on Francesca. That's Francesca now. Drives it right up to the number 64, Greg Drace. And I'm not really sure what his car says down there. I'm pretty sure it says Valentine's Day sucks on that thing, but let me see if I can get a good look. That's it. What does that side say? That say get your own candy? Well, that's kind of mean. I know Valentine's Day is a bit of a very touchy subject to some folks, but I wouldn't have thought it'd been that kind of touchy. Well, Grace lives by the code, he dies by the code. I mean, I'll give him that any day of the week. I'll definitely give him that. 16 laps remain. Now Reed's gonna have to make a crucial decision. Does he go on this next lap after he completes it, or does he go 2 more laps from now? Lap 14 with only 14 to go when he heads into pit road. That will certainly seal the deal if he can continue to drive as hard as he is. But again, is that going to last him long enough to strive and really gain more composure and more strength in the car? Because remember, he's now going to fight off not just 1 time, but 2 times where he has to switch out the tires and have to switch out the momentum. And believe it or not, when you're on a cold set tires here on these road courses, it gets a bit tricky and it can get a bit hard out there to really deal with the master. And now Kevin Gironi, the Gironi beaten man himself, and the old pork chop number 8, going to head down to pit road and talk about an impressive performance here today for him and his crew. He goes 9 spots up at his highest peak, almost into the top 3, with Robert Twiska kind of being the gatekeeper to that end of the spectrum. If he's going to do it, he's going to need to get it figured out right about now, because that car is still having some mechanical mechanical failures when it comes to gaining so much more speed. I mean, I will say this too about these next-gen Cup cars. I mean, there is one thing they are for sure, is you gotta learn to take your time with them. You actually gotta learn how to race them a little bit, which does make them harder to drive, which, again, drivers and myself included like, but if I said it once, I'll say it again. Slower may be faster, but that doesn't mean catching your slide should be even more difficult to do. I just hope seriously that gets fixed one day, or or somehow, some way it can be a little easier to do, because I know iRacing is not a 1-to-1 ratio how NASCAR does, and I know there is a way to save these things if they get loose, and that's still my biggest gripe with them. Eli Raposa right now in the 46 Toyota Camry, still on the charge, on the brigade here. He's the lone star of it all. He started 5th, he is in 5th. Al Reed and David Lamaga pretty much in the same positions they were in earlier, 1 and 2. But Eli is the only other driver that started in this qualifying spot. Brad Yonkman now moving up into the 4th place spot. Looks like he's going to have to go into pit road eventually here. Al Reed has yet to go into pit road, and now he has hit up 14 to go. If he's going to go into pit road, I guarantee you he's going to do it now. He's got to time this, though. The amount of distance Lamaga has behind him and the amount of time he can catch up to him is going to be crucial here. There's the slow down. There's the corner. There it is. There it is. He's going into pit road now. And Al Reed goes in. David Lamaga stays on out. It looks like his strategy is going to be to go full send, full hammer down to try to knock Reed out of the ballpark here. But does he have enough tires left in him? If anything, he's using up both sides here. So taking rights or lefts may be a huge risk here. If anything, he's burning more up on the left side on some of these corners than he would on the right side. So I would say he may want to look into this one. Does he go for 2 tires and a splash of gas, or does he go all 4 and then try to take down Al Reed? If he just did fuel, I think he'd lose this one. I don't think that's enough. I think Reed will catch him. And Al's already out of pit road too. It looks like his strategy is pretty simple. He didn't. I don't know if that was a full 4. I think he may have only done 2. So now the ballpark is in Lamaga's hands. What will happen here for these drivers? Both guys on the same team, Elite Sim Racing, and right now they are the most elite of drivers, trying to prove one another they can be outdone and they can be outwitted here. 34 Lamaga slows down. There's his pit road entrance. He'll have 12 laps remaining to finish this. Reed is going to come through the field charging up. Watch out for this battle. Yonkman now moving into 3rd after Twisko's pit road stop. Yonkman better be careful though. He's still got some time to be had here. Lamaga still not in pit road. He needs to get in there. He's going to get down to the pit lane here. We'll see if he can outdo the strategy here. Watch your corner here. You see Fonseca coming up through the field. Watch Reed. He's going left tires. Watch out for, or Lamaga, excuse me, going left side. Reed's coming up. He's going all 4. Here comes Reed on the left side. On your right side of your screen here, folks. There it is. The lead taken back. Lamaga, though, is out. He's coming. He's trying to hurry before Reed gets too far ahead. This might be a troublesome situation popping up. Reed now has to take his time and conserve the tires. Let them slowly burn into the rubber and burn into the surface of this asphalt plains. If he can do that, he'll have a chance to knock down his teammate and get his first win of the season. He's been dying for it. He's been looking for it all season long. He's been close before, coming up a close 2nd place quite a few times. But now he is in the driver's seat. He is in very big position here to hope for the best. You've seen the positions, now you see the car numbers on your screen. Watch the 34 and the 3, and that how much differences they go in the distance here. Both guys are just throwing everything to the limit and everything they got to their fullest potential, the maximum that you can drive. 11 laps remain. 1 and 1 to go. Let's take a look at the lap times here. And you can see, huge gain, huge ground, 2 laps straight of huge ground. But look at this lap right here. That is a huge loss. There's 27 seconds does a number on you. But again, even with that, that was still only 5.5 seconds gained on the ground. We'll have to go back and take a look at that here when we get to it. As the field still charges there, runs up. Everyone is continuously hammering down. Gironi, the Gironi beaten man himself, currently in 4th. Yonkman going into 5th. And, you know, earlier on, I kind of passed him up as just another guy kind of trying to figure things out. I take it way back now. He is actually putting on a show and putting on a run. He started back in 12th. He just kind of hang back there now. What I think he's presuming what the Bengals will do later. He's rising the defense up, and now he's on the offense. The defense did its work. Now it's time for the offense to take it full advantage. He's certainly got a lot on his mind here, not just for the Super Bowl, but also the points race and the battle for his first championship. This could be his season if he can just hang in there. But he'll have to try to do whatever he can to keep it up and keep it firing hard, especially with this the word we have on the show. He's kind of a lone wolf, if you will, as well on his actual track side of things and actually with the teams. He doesn't have a team to his name. He doesn't have anybody kind of helping him out or kind of coming with him. He drives solo. He's an independent. And that's kind of harder to come by here in the racing world. But being an independent, myself included, because really I don't have any time to race with these guys, but he's been pretty much kind of locked and loaded with this stuff. And for the record, I do have time. I just race in the official side for the heads up there. So I just don't have a team is what I meant to race with them. Last lap's coming up right now as the luck coin number 64, Greg Drace, has a little company coming up on his end. Gets out of the way here for Lomarga. And Lomarga, though, he made the mistake. He's lost in the final 2 corners. Oh! Lomarga lost it in turn 11, and now he may have just cost himself more than just a chance to win this. He may have given up more time for Tuiska to come for him. Oh, I know there's only 9 laps left, but you never know around these parts. What the heck happened here? We were watching as he was going for the corner pass there on the final 2 corners. What has happened to Lomarga? Oh, look at that. You see the rear end. It's sliding out from underneath him. He tried to save it. He couldn't save it. Smashes the front end. The hood pops right off, and now he lost all that momentum he gained and ground it up. Unbelievable drama down here at Watkins Glen, unfortunately for the reigning defending champion. But his teammate, I don't think he minds too much. He's still second, and he's like, well, it's all right. At least I know I can run off with a free ride in this case. That is insane. That is absolutely insane, to say the least here, folks. Al Reed is 1 step closer to his goal. He's got 8 laps remaining. And this field has really risen to the occasion and given us some major moments and positions, to say the least here. You saw Drace going a little too hard off turn 12, ended up going for a little wall ride there into the air, under the embankments there. But I'm still stunned. Lomarga, I mean, he lost a lot of ground, lost a lot of his footing. He's only 16 seconds back ahead of Robert Tuisku. Tuisku, if he can find some ground here, might be able to take him down. Let's take a look at the lap times here. Well, it looks like Tuisku actually is struggling just as much as Lomarga is. 8-second gain, but a 0.2 of a second loss. Lomarga gaining that off him. That's impressive, though, to me. That shows you the true heart of a champion. Even if he's damaged up bad, he doesn't care. He'll run this thing into the ground if it means trying to get him into victory lane. 7 laps remain in that number 3. The Digital Motorsports Ford Mustang. The one of 3 Ford Mustangs. The Mustangs tonight have dominated, or excuse me, today have dominated here at Watkins Glen International. They are literally the top 3, and the manufacturer company got to be happy with this little nugget for them. Remember though, it's not done yet until we are done and with the checkers out. Even doesn't matter if it's on a green, doesn't matter if it's on a white. If we don't see checkers flying high, this race is not over yet. Oh, speaking of over though, I think the 8th race may be over with. He goes into pit road. I don't know if that's going to give him a penalty or not. He was inside pit lane there. He slides it right off turn 12, goes for a wild ride into the open embankment there, pit road, thankfully avoiding the problematic water barrels. But let's take a look at this one. He drives in hard off turn 12 and looked like the car just went straight haywire. Lost it big time there, and that certainly did not help his cause any, that is for certain. Another look at it. You see him just drive it way too hard in. He just lost it. Just try to back off and sent it on in. Now again, if he entered into pit road, that does count. That can give him a penalty. I don't think he got one though. I think he is still okay. The officials are telling me right now, no, Gironi did not get a penalty from that. He did not enter into pit road, so he will be A-okay to continue on. We've only got 6 laps remaining here in the Bigfoot 45 here at Watkins Glen International. And race fans, I'll tell you this much. This has been a wild, frenetic, all-action pace racing from everyone that tuned on in the race and that came out here to put on a fight and put on a show. Some of them may have had their day ended early. Some of them may have called it a day early and being prepared for the next race ahead. But they can't tell me for 1 minute that these drivers didn't give their heart and soul to put it on a fight down here. Next week, Dover International Speedway is on the roster. It's on the lineup. It'll be interesting to see what happens there when we get things straight to the end. Coming through the reins right now. Oh my lord. Some of these guys still really struggling to keep the cars on flying, keep them on target. And again, not for lack of trying, it's just because they're just very hard to handle. Remember, these things are literally over 2 tons of weight, and they're also designed to basically test the best of drivers. Their different steering, their different setup, and everything they've got to their name and their roster. That certainly has been the case all day long. The high five was in the air that last time by Alvarino. Only 4 laps to go, and he's already got a 13.5 plus second gap on Lamaga. Lamaga mainly because that little switchblade action he got from turn number 12. Or the final turn, the final 2 turns, I should say. I think it was turn 11, not 12. Why did I say turn 12? Fielding the race down, and right now everyone continuing to charge up and do what they can. Laps winding further and further into the distance. Brad Yonkman trying to maybe see if there's anything left to catch Tuwiscu, but Tuwiscu seems to be pretty much in his comfort zone here. I don't think he's really lost anything or lost any ground out there. You see he's just been kind of lined up and doing his own little shenanigans here. –  。        – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – But yet again, man, Yonkman definitely improving in performance in a way that I don't think a lot of folks were expecting. He's definitely impressed me quite a bit with his overall control and consistency he's bringing to the table on PT Racing TV. And if anything, he may be able to start punching some tickets and start punching some names here out of the way here in the top 10, maybe even more towards top 5 at the end of the season. I'm not saying he can make a run for the win, but I'm saying he could definitely make quite a showcase for himself. Twisco now got a little bit of company there. Greg's race there on his right side. Off the corner panel though, he'll hammer down onto that front straightaway. A little bit of a drag race between the two. Jameson right now in the 28 Ford Mustang, continuing to drive it on by, grabbing a little bit of corners and build more speed. Time is running out. Man, everybody's having troubles here on these last couple turns. They're trying to hold the line down on these things. I think I might be wrong too on my lap counters, on my turn counter here. I think there might be only 9 turns. So if like I said, if I messed up, I'll say right now, I'll be the first to admit I did not know how some of these turns and track areas work. I just know there's a lot of turns down there. But that's one thing we do know is we got a green flag high in the air. 2 to go right now for the number 3 of Al Reed. He'll march his way and punch his ticket around the track. Just a few more corners to go. He's already passed halfway here. In for the bus stop he goes. Just got to brake, time it easily here. Don't let the car get out of shape. Don't worry about his teammates. His teammates way too far off to catch him at this point. For Lomaga, he'll have the points lead still, and he'll have a pretty solid day and a half here for him and his crew to kind of walk away with. But the biggest thing I'm going to tell you right now is that he is going to be in for quite the challenge here. Francesco, well, I guess what I said earlier about trying to save the car, I got thrown out the window. Nice save by the 61. But he'll open up a drag race between him and Eli Raposa as they bring it right down to the front straightaway. White flag is out. Al Reed going to take the white and take this one on home to the bank. He's got one more to go. As he got the car lined in position to finish this race out. Off the set of corners from turn 1, now to 2, into 3, down into turn 4. Here comes that long back gate straight away to the bus stop. Just gotta hit the marks and hit them just right. He'll fire it through the bus stop, into the corners, into the turns. To the bus stop, now down, one more time by, hit the carousel. The carousel waves him on around, nice control there. Eli Raposa a little bit of trouble down there. He's going to have to get out of the way here for Al Reed. He does indeed, lets him race this one to the line. Off the final 2 corners. He is the only Irishman that's ever won here on BT Racing TV, and Watkins Glen will be his battleground, his home zone. Al Reed in the Digital Motorsports Ford Mustang is going to be a race winner yet again, and the winner of the Bigfoot 45. Impressive. Lomaga, final corner off, and he'll finish a solid 2nd place. Robert Suiscu, Brad Yonkman, not quite done yet. Suiscu's got to get across the line and get the Jameson 28 to the 3rd place spot for a podium. He'll work his way down final 2 corners. Drives it in deep and sends it off to the front straightaway. He'll take home 3rd place. But there he is, race fans. He's been waiting for this one for a while. He'll take it home to Ireland. He is going to be your race winner, Al Reed, in the number 3 Digital Motorsports Ford Mustang. And how about this? What a performance and a drive to survive. He gave it everything he had, and then some to pull this one out of the hat and pull this one with the W. That's what you call consistency. That's what you call momentum to all end of the spectrum. While he goes and celebrates a few Burnout Donuts, let's go ahead and go one last commercial break in. We'll be right back after this message. This race was brought to you in part by our good friends over at the Joe Sixpack Podcast for all your weekly news updates and live, and also for your broadcast needs for our livery designers, broadcasters, commentators, as well as folks in the motorsport industry itself. There's only one brand and place we go to, and that's the Joe Sixpack Podcast. It's the faces behind the races. And by Greg's Lawn and Garden Care. Grow better with Greg. Help the world become a better place. And I think it might be time for a little celebration. Oh, he's going to try. He's going to try to do some burnouts. I thought he was going to try to do a Tokyo drift down there. He's going to try something down there, that's for sure. Kicking up some major donuts down there, that's for sure. Great stuff here. Alright, race fans, we're waiting in arrival for our top 3 drivers. They are ready to, they will be entering in the waiting room here in a little bit, but I think Elite Sim Racing is having a little fun down there. Going to have themselves a little showmanship here. There it is, triple burnouts from the 3. You can barely even hear the cars breathing anymore. They're just going to burn the motors out on these things. I don't even think you can see anymore over there. I think they may have actually blocked out the sun. I think they legitimately have blocked out the sun down there, folks. Well, Hal Reed is going to park it, and it looks like the motor is finally going to quit on Lomaga. And Suisku looks like his motor is done for us. So, alright, ladies and gentlemen, looks like David Lomaga has joined us in first. So let's go ahead and get him on the call as there goes the motor. David, congratulations, sir, a second place finish. But I think more than anything, we need to bring this little topic up here. You had a hard charging car and had a fast piece of machinery. But off the final pit stop, and then coming to the 3 laps in, you came off the second to final corners there. Car gets loose and swings straight into the wall protection. What happened down there? Hold on, folks. I think you might have some technical difficulties on our end here. Hold on a minute. David, you got a copy?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Did you catch what we called you there?
No.
So I'll go ahead and talk real quick again here about this. You're coming off right off a turn on the final 2 corners there. The car gets a little too loose from that after that pit stop that happened. Was the top? What happened exactly to the car there?
I mean, I was just pushing it there. I was pushing it to get around Greg as fast as I could, just so I could try to catch up with Al, or at least keep up with Al. And yeah, I just gave it a little too much and just spun it, you know.
Yeah, it seemed like it was kind of holding a little bit harder on the line. I'll ask this, though, with the tires, when they were a little bit colder, were they a little bit more tricky to kind of get grip down here at Watkins?
I mean, I actually felt better when they were colder. You know, actually, I felt catching Al towards the end there, just because I felt better on cold tires than I did fresh tires. But then every time we got a pit stop and he got fresh tires, I mean, he was gone.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, Lomaga, you're going to walk away here today with a second place finish here. So I'll ask you this real quick, my friend. Who do you want to thank you for that?
I want to thank my wife, Kerry, as always, for, letting me do these every week. And, well, not letting me do it, but dealing with me while I do them every week. Thank my my parents, my friends, everyone who watches every week. Thank my teammates, Al, Rob, Mike, my brother, John, who couldn't be here today. But, I mean, this was our first 1, 2, 3 for the season for our team. So, I mean, I know all 3 of us are excited about it. So, big thanks to the team. We've been trying to run hard. It's different this year because now we're teammates, and it's a little different because we were pretty hardcore competitors. So we've been trying to get like a 1, 2, 3 eventually. So it was good to finally get it. And thank you to you, Christian, for broadcasting, Greg for putting on the league, and thank you for all the drivers who showed up today and put on a good race.
For sure there, David, man. You pulled up a great race. Good performance here. Congratulations on the second place finish. We'll catch you next time here as we're heading to Dover next week.
Yes, thank you very much, Christian. Enjoy the Daytona 500.
You too, bud. Ladies and gentlemen, your second place finish here at Watkins Glen International. That'll be David Lamaga piling up the 34. We now tune in with our third place finisher here today, ladies and gentlemen. Piling up the number 28 Jameson Machine, Robert Tuisku out of Detroit, Michigan. Robert, congratulations on that third place finish here. And really, other than, really some of the guys in the back, obviously, that were trying to hunt down Lamaga and Reed, you had some speed yourself there and actually had a few times where you were catching up. But when Lamaga kind of crashed out and had some problems down there, were you trying to aim towards taking him up a few notches?
I was hoping I could get up to him there, give the watchers a little bit of a show there. But, I don't wish nothing bad on my teammates there.
Sure there. I'll ask you this as well too, my friend. You had a lot going on, obviously. Your teammates going 1, 2, 3 with you and your crew. I mean, how much does that mean for you as a driver to know that this team kind of helped piloting up and getting way into this position and getting the top dogs of this race today?
These two guys, Al and Dave, even Mike, too bad he's not here today, but these guys are excellent road course guys, great guys to learn from. I don't think I could have done it without having these guys to, kind of give me the advice and show me around.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, Tuisku, as you come away here with a solid third place finish and really maybe wanted to help kind of get you closer into the ages and into the track, I will ask you this. Who do you want to thank here for this one?
Oh, well, man, I got to thank my team first and foremost. Me and Al, we spent some time together Friday night practicing, and I needed it. He gave me some good pointers. Thanks, Al. Thanks, Dave, for everything you do, too. Thank you for the broadcast, Christian. Thank my wife. Thank Greg for the league. It's great, man.
It certainly is great. Good to see you back here, man. Congratulations, and we're going to catch you all next time by here, my friend.
Yeah, take care, man.
You too, ladies and gentlemen. Your third place finisher here today. Give it up for Robert Tuisku in the 28. Hey, he's going to take this one to victory lane, though. Take it to the bank and take it across the pond. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Reed is in the house, and he wins here at WGI, Watkins Glen International. First off, congratulations, Al. What a race and what a steady stream up in the fight and in the fray. From start to finish, you looked like this car was just untouchable.
I don't know if the car was untouchable, but thanks for that, Chris. How are you getting on? What's the crack?
What was it, what?
What's the crack? How are you getting on?
Looks like he had pretty much a 12.5-second gap over De La Maga in the relative here, and looked like the car was pretty much hitting fastest points at 1:14.24. You pretty much had this thing locked up to the track.
Sure, Jesus, it was great. Like I like Watkins. I like it in the LMP cars. Just used to it, it's just a great track. Got to give a shout out to the lap cars. Lap cars moved over straight away as soon as I come up behind them. They were really thankful, appreciative. Just moved aside to let the racing continue. It was awesome. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Sir, there now. I'm gonna ask this real quick as we sign off with this here, but you're pretty much one of the guys that have reigned supreme from your country and reigned supreme from your track side here. What does it mean to be kind of taking this one home for not only your countrymen and countrywomen out there, but also now kind of pushing up closer in the points to possibly taking home a season championship?
Jeez, no, I wouldn't be going that far. No. Dave is a very solid driver. Dave is a solid driver. Like, Dave sees the overall picture. He's going, he goes, right, okay, Al's 12 seconds ahead. I'll get to P2. That's points for him on the board. You know what I mean? Dave is a fantastic driver. Fantastic. You can't sleep on him. He's absolutely a fantastic driver. But I got to say, thanks to Dave. He did my paint, Detail Customs. Check him out on Instagram. So Dave did my paint, and I actually deep-badged it as well. I don't know if you looked at it or you saw it in the stream, but the front of it has no Ford. It has no grill in it. It just has the lights, and the lights are red. Just gives that aggressive look. But thanks to the guys. It's awesome. Thanks to yourself, Greg. I gotta give a shout out to the guys at Digital Motorsport as well. They allowed me to have their logos and stuff on the cars. They're based on all my cars. So if anyone's looking for new sim racing hardware, whether that be steering wheels, pedals, rigs, even motion rigs, whatever you're looking for, check them out. www.digitalmotorsports.com.
Well, it sounds like you got quite a bit going on. Sounds like the fans and the drivers out there that have listened in and watched from this show will have something to kind of go looking forward to. So, we'll sign off with this here, Mr. Reed. Anyone else you want to thank?
No, pretty much nailed everyone there. Thank you so much, Chris.
For sure there. All right, Reed. Congratulations. Celebrate this one, man. Well earned and deserved at long last.
Heck yeah, man. I'm going to have a Guinness and I'm going to watch the Super Bowl now.
Have a couple on me too, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, Al Reed.
Go Rams.
Okay, well, we got some Rams and some Bengals in the house, so we'll see what happens. Race fans, that is going to conclude our show tonight. Thanks to Marty Brown for coming in late in the comments section. Thanks to the Joe Sixpack Podcast and Greg's Lawn and Garden Care for tuning on in. Race fans, thank you so much for everything. We're going to be off for the rest of the day. Enjoy the Super Bowl, race fans. Enjoy your time. Next week, the Daytona 500, our true Super Bowl, comes to play and comes into fruition. But for now, I leave you with this. Be safe. God bless. Take care. I love you guys.